Hello, I'm Ericka Mercado.
My name is Gwen Blaney, and
we're
from Frederick, Maryland, USA.
In our project, we studied whether or not superworms would be a viable option for plastic pollution. Specifically, we wanted to investigate the rate at which worms would consume the styrofoam, if they would consume the styrofoam in the presence of their natural bedding/food, and how consumption of the styrofoam affects them in the comparison to the control group. We started off with 400 worms, divided them into groups of 20 per trial. There were 4 trials of 3 different kinds of plastic: polyethylene foam, polystyrene/styrofoam, and polyvinyl chloride. The control group were the worms that were being fed plastics. Over the course of a month, we recorded the masses of the plastic and how much it depleted each day. Additionally, we observed the behaviors of the worms in the trials compared to the control group.
Nearing the end of the experiment, we found out that styrene, the monomer that makes up polystyrene, is a volatile compound. VOCs, or volatile organic compounds, are substances that readily evaporate into the air at typical temperatures and pressures. This means there would be a mass loss observed from the frass/excrement by the end of the experiment. We could not determine the chemical composition of the frass and whether it contained microplastics, because that would involve the use of costly machinery like gas chromatography mass spectrometry that we don't have access to. From what we are seeing in the frass, there are multiple white specks of styrofoam that were mechanically broken down by the worms, potentially indicating that they are breaking it down. However, this does pose a concern as the worms begin their process of breaking down the plastic. They create microplastics.
All worms in the trials, including control, appeared to be lethargic. At the end of the data collection, the worms in control began to cannibalize one another despite having a food source available. While the trials with various forms of plastic did not show any signs of extreme stress. In fact, one of the worms from the trials that was eating plastic began to pupate, indicating that it gained some sort of nourishment from the plastic. This could be because their natural food sources contain trace amounts of styrene. When calculating the mass loss from the styrene that evaporated from the frass, we found that there was 0.038 grams of styrene produced, which is about 3% of the total amount of styrofoam that turned into styrene.